Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover, and let's talk football.
That's right. We're average fans of football. We watched it on Saturday and Sunday, and this is our review of the Giants and Cowboys game. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, my initial thoughts is on a stretch of games here in a couple of weeks where kicking has just been the crux of so many games, like the Ravens game missing an extra point and a field goal, and then the Chiefs game missing a field goal, and it turned out to be a 3-point game, that the Dallas Cowboys have a true weapon with Brandon Aubrey here.
Yeah, that's a good one. And it was, since when did making a 50-yard field goal become a normal thing, right? It wasn't that long ago where that was like, oh man, that's 50 yards. Like, I don't know if you would do that. Now it's the same with like 60 yards, like 64 yards. And it looked, he didn't make it by a little. Like it was pretty comfortable, like, which is incredible.
Yeah, that was going in from 70, easy.
Yeah, and it's it's inside, right? So there, you take that into consideration, but still, like that, the amount of yards you need to be in position for a 64-yard field goal is negligible, especially if you start from the 35. Like you don't really need that many just to get points now, and that's a huge weapon for them.
Yeah, so we're talking about getting to midfield-ish.
Yeah.
Well, somewhere not that far past midfield if you have to at all. And he did it twice in this game. At the end of regulation, with 20 seconds left to send it to overtime, and then overtime with no time on the clock. And like you said, he blasted that thing. That was easily good from 70 yards. And I rewatched it a couple of times. Did you notice how casual it looks when he kicks one from that far?
Exactly.
It doesn't look difficult.
No.
Whatever the mechanics are of kicking, he's, I know how they analyze QB mechanics and the ball just jumps out of certain QB's hands. Well, the ball jumps off of his foot, that's for sure.
Well, and they did a little bit on the broadcast. When he was a professional soccer player, thought he could get into kicking, got like a kicking coach, and then now just looks like an absolute weapon for them. He accounted for 16 points. Like out of a 40-point game, that's almost half. That's the kick. And most teams and coaches don't think about a kicker. Like a lot of people don't draft kickers. You had a point on an earlier show about Moody. In case you haven't listened to, you should go back and listen to that episode. They wasted a draft pick on that because you could have picked someone up in free agent or whatever. But having Aubrey really would change how you do the game and your game plan. Because like you said, you're just making it to midfield and then you can get points. That's a big difference.
Yeah, and we're talking about critical games that are going to have playoff seeding implications. Like I said, the Ravens missed a field goal and an extra point in that Bills come from behind, which turned out to be a 1-point game.
Right.
So that was critical, critical missed kicks there. You just mentioned 49ers released Moody, so they wasted a third-round pick on him, and I'm sure Shanahan is barfing about the players he could have taken instead of Moody, so he's already gone. And then the Chiefs game that we're going to cover in a minute here was a 3-point game, and they missed a field goal. So field goal. Oh, and the Atlanta Falcons have already benched their kicker because he could have tied the game last week. And the guy that came in his place, I think the entire game was just field goals for them against the Vikings, and they beat the Vikings purely on field goals. So kicking, it's not glamorous. Nobody really wants to talk about it. But if you got a guy who can hit from 60 yards routinely, like that's a legitimate weapon that really matters in the playoffs.
Yeah, and in the regular season, like you said, some of these are division games, and it's going to separate where you fit in the standings. Let's get back to the New York and Cowboys games. This is supposed to be the review there. So the first line I have about this game is that's why you don't overreact in week one, because week one everyone was like Russell Wilson's dead, like this is not going to work. Looked terrible. You said he looked terrible. I said he looked all right, but that's neither here nor there. But it's like he looked like he was running for his life, and then that's his career high in passing yards. So like it seems like going forward, if you're a New York fan, you feel better about Russell Wilson than you did a week ago.
All right, Jeff. Well, I'll take the other side of that coin.
Okay.
And I will say Russell Wilson threw for 450 yards, but the one pass that he wants back is the one that ruined the game for them. It was that inexplicable interception in overtime. And I had to recheck it. That was a second down play, and he just threw it up for grabs for no reason. There's still 2 minutes left in the game. I can't. I mean, he was having, like you said, it's one of the best games we've seen him play in maybe his career as far as passing, like especially hitting deep shot after deep shot, which is his calling card, right? The deep shot.
Yep. And some of them were like right in the bucket, like looked amazing.
And then he throws one literally up for grabs. He just flicks it up into the air. I mean, it was not a challenging pick. Anyone could have caught that one.
Yeah.
And that essentially handed the final drive of the game to the Cowboys with Aubrey, and then they just got close enough, and that was it. And I thought, what is he doing? Like, why would he was having such a great game. What on earth is he thinking in this moment? And it's not like it was a desperation 4th down, just get the ball out, hope for a pass interference. Like you can't take a sack, you can't throw it out of bounds, you can't turn it over right where I'm standing. Best I can do is almost simulate a punt, just get it down the field, and even if they pick it, fine, I've at least got it down the field. No, it's 2nd down.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Yeah,
I'll tell you what I think he was thinking is that he went 30 for 41 with 450 yards and 3 touchdowns, and his running game, he had Scadaboo had 11 carries for 45 yards with a 24-yard long, so that means that's like 10 carries for 20 yards. So the running game was non-existent. It's all on him. It's all on his shoulders. They made it to overtime. It's at that point, it was going to be like his 400-yard game is wasted because they're going to lose it in overtime. And so he's really felt the pressure to make something happen and tried too much and then got too close to the sun and threw up a horrible pick. So that, if I had to guess, that's what I would say the thought process was.
He's too experienced to make that kind of mistake right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so ugly that, I mean, it wasn't like he tried to fit it into a tight window and he was just feeling himself that game. And because you're right, he was dotting guys down the field. Like he was throwing, he had a 50-yarder to Wan'Dale Robinson, a 52-yarder to Slayton, a 48-yarder to Neighbors. Like he was on fire. So but that one wasn't even, there was no hope there. That it looks like, well, my only 2 choices are take a sack, the game's over, or flick it down the field. That's what that one looked like. So and I can't stress enough the 2nd down. He had 2 more downs 3 more downs to live on that. Oh my God! I mean, a tie is not a bad thing in the NFL. A tie is fine.
True.
He handed the game to the Cowboys right there. So that makes this feel like an even more crushing loss to the Giants because first of all, it's a division game. Now they're 0-2 in the division.
Yeah.
And your QB, which the QB room's a question anyways, he looks like, oh, here we go. This is the Wilson we wanted, and he's the one who blew it.
What do you think about putting in Dart for 1 or 2 random plays that were like handoffs? Like, what did you think about that?
Oh, I think it's because Dart can run an RPO, like a run pass option, better than Wilson can.
But they didn't do that. Like he just handed it off.
Yeah, but I don't know. That might have also been an option where he could have kept it.
Okay.
So
I just thought it was weird. I thought it was really weird to like bring him in for the first game ever on the road at a game where Wilson has had a career high in passing yards. Like I never really understood that. But anyway, I also think one of the main parts of this story, the other line I have here in my notes is that New York's defense is better than this. Like they made Dak Prescott look amazing, and he hasn't looked amazing for some time. And they gave up like a 97-yard rusher. He had 361 yards passing, but Prescott did. CeeDee Lamb looked like he was unguardable. Like that, they're normally better than that. So like, to me, it was like the surprise. Obviously, was Wilson passing for over 400. Anyone who passes over 400 yards is a big deal in the NFL. But it's really like if their defense was just half of what they usually are, this would have been a cakewalk for the Giants. But instead, they made the Cowboys look amazing.
And that's the kicker here for Giants fans. You're looking at this thing saying 37 points wasn't enough. 450 yards through the air wasn't enough. Is there any way this team can win a game? Because as you just said, isn't their defense what we expected to be the calling card here? They got Burns. They spent that high pick on Carter. We know Dexter Lawrence is one of the top 2 defensive tackles in the league. So they've got play. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau is actually having a bit of a resurgent season, maybe because Abdul Carter's there. And he's like, hang on, I'm pretty damn good here too. So they've got players, and then you're right. They 40 points and whatever, almost 500 yards over there too. Like a lot of yards given up, and it's just Well, okay. So what can we do here? Our defense now isn't good, and the best possible output our QB can do here, 450 yards. None of it's enough. So where do they go from here?
Mm-hmm. That fourth quarter was crazy. Like giving up 20 points in the fourth quarter is just nuts. Like that, a better team wouldn't do that. So it was no, and like you said, it really felt like this was the one that New York could win. Like the way they played and the way their offense looked, and it's surprising that the defense let them down. So,
well, and then the penalties.
Oh, yeah,
the penalty.
That's
that
a really
first
good point.
drive. First of all, they start the game with a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Then they take 5 penalties on that first drive. 4 of them by the left tackle. I guess he's a backup. But and the broadcast, Olsen's like, well, whoever's the third stringer, they got to get him in there now. This guy, he did the punch in the head for. Remember, he just smacked him in the helmet, so he took a penalty there, a 15-yarder there.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had 2 false starts and another holding penalty. So he alone took 4 penalties worth, 45 yards on that drive, and then they had another penalty on that drive. So they had 5 total penalties, plus the opening kick was a penalty.
Yeah.
Like this,
no, and they showed Daboll like on the sideline saying like we got to get him out of there. When the rookie came in, I thought he looked pretty good. So like I'd be worried if I'm that like 55, I think is who it was. Like I'd be worried if I'm him because I don't know if you can have your job back.
Well, and I looked up what's the most penalties in an NFL game, total yards between the two teams. It's like 300 in a bit.
Okay.
But this game was 266. It's up there. It's up there for one of the worst ever. So I don't know what you even make of a game where the team with the fewer penalties is 12 for 106 on the Cowboys. The only reason that's not an embarrassment is because the Giants was even worse. 14 penalties for 160.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
That's
so bad.
Combined, that's a full games of offense and penalties.
It is.
Right?
It is.
266 yards. There's many games this week where that was the entire output for a team.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to make of that. Is this a good game, or is this just two teams that are flawed all over the place, and this is just what you get? You get this wild game. I mean, it's fun. This looked like a college game.
Yeah, that's my last point I have here in my notes is that I enjoyed this game. I enjoyed the back and forth. It's something you don't normally see. It's really something you don't normally see with these teams. Like the over-under for this game was like 45, which the Cowboys almost had themselves. So, no, it was crazy. But that was my last note here was like this was entertaining, more entertaining than I thought it would be because it reminded me of a Big 12 game. Of a real back and forth, like couldn't stop them, especially in the fourth quarter, like huge swings of momentum. And it was entertaining. But at the end of the day, this does feel more like a poorly executed game because of the penalties and the no defense compared to like something else.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, okay, so what can we say about both teams? So let's start with the Giants. The season is slipping away really fast. Not only is it 0-2, it's 2 division losses out of the gates. That's almost impossible to recover from. Yeah,
and we went over this before in a previous show, but like the upcoming schedule doesn't get any better. The next one's against Kansas City, who also is in a must-have-it kind of situation because they're 0-2, right? And then they play the Chargers. Then they've got the Saints, which they probably might be able to win. And then the Eagles, and then the Broncos, then the Eagles again. So like that's a rough stretch right there. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be tough moving forward. But listen, the positive thing I would say is that the first week everyone thought Wilson like that this is going to be an absolute disaster, and he was running for his life. But he had 30 for 41 for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns and a backbreaking interception without a question. But 30 for 41 for 450, like you feel better about Wilson this week than you did last week.
All right, and then the Cowboys. Okay, so what can we say about the Cowboys? Rushed for 135 yards. I know that's not world beating, but for them, consistently getting 100+ yards rushing is a big deal given how bad the rushing game was last year. So that's a positive sign. And I mean, a win is a win. A division win is good. So they bounced back from the last game. And again, otherwise they were already looking at an 0-2 start here, and division 0-2. So they're hanging in there, and at least Pickens got involved this time. So there is something to this offense.
Yeah, and they've got an absolute weapon at kicker, right? That's good for a team that has struggled in offense in the past. Just knowing you got to make it to midfield can lead to points is going to be enough to like swing some games this season. So they've got an absolute kicker assassin that they have in their weapons.
Yep, and that's going to stress other coaches thinking like, oh, we need to really tighten here. If it's a close game, they just, like you said, they don't need very many yards to get within that guy's range. That guy's range is almost like the whole field.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know, did you get anything else for this one? I mean, It was fun. I'll take this game every time for how much fun it was, even though it was kind of sloppy. It was really entertaining.
Yeah, I feel really bad for, any Giants fans because it really felt like they had it. At a couple points in the fourth quarter. So it's extra demoralizing.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we got for this one. Had fun watching that one. And we appreciate you being here and checking out our show. We know our channel's small, so we appreciate you taking the time. And if you do like what we got, a like or a subscribe or both would be super appreciated, and or share it with somebody who you think would like the show. All right. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barban, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.